It is May 17th, 2022. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, NXT 2.0. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Issa. And where is Alfred Konuwa? Well, today he said he was not respected enough as a Wrestling Inc. co-host. And even though we've done the show many times before and we met about it earlier, he claimed he was uncomfortable being on camera with one of his co-hosts, stating that they were unsafe and unprofessional. And, oh, hi, Alfred. How's it going?
Hello, Glenn. I was told that the co-host in question was not going to be on this show. I don't know why you're sandbagging me like this. I consider this unprofessional.
You know, them's the breaks.
I thought that he didn't feel respected enough as a Forbes writer. That's what I was told.
I'm not getting my damn respect.
Well, creative plans change. We ebb and flow. We're going to do our best to work tonight on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. But we're all
listen, I'm going to do my job the way a professional does, and I will ignore any tensions I may have with the co-host on this show.
There you go. There you go. Let's talk about NXT 2.0. But before we hop into that, what is going on in the news, Alfred?
Oh, pretty slow news week. You know how it goes.
Oh, there's no news. It's a slow.
News would be an understatement. But of course, everybody wants to know updates on this Sasha Banks and Naomi situation. For the uninitiated, they walked out during a Raw live event last night as they were frustrated with the creative. WWE issued a response to their walkout, saying that they were unprofessional, that they had time to practice for the match, and even admitted that they dropped the belts, literally put the belts on John Laurinaitis' desk and pieced out. Naomi held it down for Sasha Banks. I love that part of the story. But the latest update, according to PW Insider, were the creative plans, which many sources have confirmed we're going to have Sasha Banks being pinned by Naomi in the six-pack challenge. So not only were the women's tag team champions going to be competing in the six-pack challenge as individuals, it looked like reportedly Naomi was set to pin Sasha Banks, and then in the long term, Sasha Banks would go off and lose to Ronda Rousey on SmackDown, while Naomi would go on to lose to Bianca Belair on Raw. And that may have been the source of frustrations, as we've heard. A lot to unpack there, but Issa, we'll start with you about what you thought about the reported creative and what you think about this whole situation.
I thought that it was reported, at least Fightful Select reported that she was to pin Nikki ASH. So it seems like there's been a couple of back and forth reports on what the actual match was scheduled to be. I shared a little bit about it today on the WINC Daily with Nick, but I feel like there was a lot of people that were kind of like unprofessional here. I spoke about how I previewed Monday Night Raw yesterday on my YouTube channel, She Plugged, and WWE didn't have anything scheduled at 7:30 p.m. The only thing they had on their preview was the steel cage match. So in my opinion, why would you go on the air and announce the six-pack challenge when at this point in the evening we know there was already issues arising and these women might have already walked out at this point? I feel them going in and announcing the match and then taking it back was only and solely done to put some heat on them, because you could have easily handled this backstage without nobody finding out. If at 7 p.m. you're seeing that they're about to walk out, there's issues with the match, then don't announce it. And you could have just announced Becky Lynch, Asuka one-on-one, and it would have been drama, but then there's no need for anybody to kind of find out about it. And the statement that they put out, some of the words that they even used the words belt.
Messy.
They talked about Raw being a scripted TV show. Like that was petty. That was very petty, in my opinion.
My favorite part was when they apologized for not delivering on an advertised match that was not advertised when Raw went on the air. Because I did sports writers, they did not have one of these matches advertised. And then they backtrack and say, oh, we apologize for doing this to our fans.
They had nothing. And a lot of the reports are saying that they had walked out before the show even started. So it's like, why did you even have to announce it in those first 5 minutes? It almost felt like it was just to put a little extra heat on them. I don't necessarily agree with the decision of walking out, but we don't know their side of the story at this point either, right? But I do understand that if creative is feeding you a bunch of bullshit, you're under contract to eat that bullshit too. So there's also a different way to handle the situation, but I don't like how WWE is trying to just put a narrative where they're just completely unprofessional. And it also feels like this might have been something that was boiling. I don't think that this was something that it was just from last night.
Yeah, and looking at it, if you believe someone who Naomi follows on Twitter and talking about this, Naomi and Sasha have been pushing to defend their tag team titles against, I believe it was Liv and Nikki. Was that the team?
No, it was Nikki and Doudrop.
Nikki and Doudrop, that's correct. They wanted to face that, but they were told they wouldn't be defending their tag team titles until Money in the Bank. And look, good for them for sticking up for the women's tag division, which is often an afterthought. Naomi and Sasha have gotten so over. And the idea that they would go on to essentially be the formidable competition for both Ronda and Bianca to beat, I mean, look, shoot your shot, right? I mean, I think, they've got worth to the company. Supposedly, if you also believe this person that Naomi follows on Twitter, Fox especially is very high on their team. So I think somebody has to put their foot down for the women's tag division at this point. And especially if these are going to be inconsequential matches at Hell in a Cell, why not give two other contenders a chance?
Yeah, to your point, I will say, and I said this earlier too, when I saw Naomi and Bianca had a stare down like a couple of Royal Rumbles ago, I was like, I need this program in my life. I need to see these two women go at it, but I need it to be a meaningful program, not a throwaway match, a Hell in a Cell so that Bianca can win. And you can't blame them for saying, why us? Why are we the throwaway matches at Hell in a Cell while you protect Asuka or Becky? Why not give them Hell in a Cell and save us for one of the stadium shows or their bigger shows? So, and somebody earlier said, well, WWE's never respected the tag team division. And maybe this is why, because nobody had taken a stance and made a point for it. So this could be a good thing, a bad thing. We don't know where it's going to end up, but I saw your video, Alfred, and I agree with you. I personally thought that Naomi just taking the stand with Sasha, especially after we find out, regardless of who she was going to pin, she was going to win here. And for her to just leave with her partner, it just says a lot about the story.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the most beautiful part of this story is her being a day one, them sticking together on this and them seeing it through to the end instead of one of them being isolated and potentially seen as this bad apple and gaslit and Lord knows what with these people today on these audiences. I have no problem with them walking out. I mean, we could argue about professionalism and this, that, and the other and contracts, but this is mainstream sports. And finally, wrestlers are starting to catch up to what the athletes have been doing in this era where the athletes have more power than ever, just as much as the owners. We see this all the time in basketball. We just saw James Harden force his way out of Houston. We see Ben Simmons force his way. All these players, when they don't want to play at a certain place for whatever reason, and up to us or anybody to speculate what reason, but they have a way of doing this, and this empowers the wrestler. I think this goes beyond just the women's tag team division, because that is definitely something that is worth standing up for based on Sasha Banks and Naomi. I thought could potentially been great champions as tag team champions and a real drawing card the way they were with Bayley. But I also thought that it was good because it's also standing up for the wrestlers. Okay, let's go outside this women's division. It's a lot of men terrified of Vince McMahon. These two women are not. Okay, they did something that a lot of men did not have really the position to do, maybe not the clout to do. And in an era where wrestlers are more expendable than ever in WWE, Sasha Banks and Naomi doing this is something that needs to be done because a very small list of wrestlers can get away with this. So this is something that I think can reverberate and have the desired effect, because this creative process needs to change on a lot of levels, not just with the women, especially with the women, but on a lot of levels. And this is the type of thing that I think is the only thing that's going to really end up with any type of real change.
Yeah, and to your point, in my opinion, is even a bigger deal for them to do this as women, because the men do have a little bit of a more of an escape. Men are most likely to be treated a lot differently and a lot better if they go to a competitive promotion, AEW being the example, where AEW, what are they going to do there? Go to Dark Elevation or be on the 930 spot? You know what I mean? So them taking the stand, they're also taking a big chance, because I'm sorry, it's not the same story for a woman to walk off or to walk out of WWE than it is for one of their most popular, male performers.
And I feel women in the WWE fought very hard for the advancement of women's wrestling and to be treated seriously as performers. They even fought for a women's tag division. And now the idea to just backburner that for fodder for the main championship picture, which has been overly dominated by a very limited pool of candidates, if not now, when, and if not them, who, better to take a stand for the women's locker room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at a time where they absolutely need it. This entire industry sucks at promoting women when it comes to women's wrestling. There's so much talent in a lot of these shows. We just saw a whole week, whether it's that Dynamite main event between Deonna Purrazzo and Mercedes Martinez that did the worst number in a year. They advertised the women's only wrestling show that we all enjoyed last week, did the worst number in the history of NXT. They did a ladies' night in September that did one of the worst numbers in NXT, a 28% drop in the demo. And that is not the fault of the women. It's because this industry, and even the industry leader in WWE, does not know how to speak to that voice. They do not know how to craft. They can do individual characters, usually mean girls, like what Britt Baker and Jade Cargill are. But to create a whole division of eclectic women characters that way they've historically done with men, they can't do that because it filters through the eyes of a very limited worldview man and Vince McMahon. And things like this is going to help change that. Maybe they do loosen the reins and let these women take control of their own storylines.
And you could also argue the fact that if they want to start a tag team program with Doudrop and Nikki ASH, there's enough women in the Raw roster to still have a six-pack challenge without involving the four of them. You could have put Becky, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Sonya Deville, Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans. I just named 7 without naming these 4 women that could have gone on into their tag team, title feud. So there's a lot of things to be questioned here. Of course, we also have to keep in mind that it's always going to be 3 sides to the story because we're going to hear a lot of different sides. But right now, the side that we're being presented is the statement. The only official side that we have is this petty statement that WWE released that I saw it. And I'm like, well, there is one way to get me to completely take their side no matter what, because that statement was horrible. And what was being said by Corey Graves on commentary, which was clearly fed to him. As soon as I heard him say the line on commentary, I was like, he was told to say that. Like, I knew 100% he was told to call them unprofessional on national television.
I hope there's solidarity on Friday. I hope that if there's punitive action taken towards them.
You mean solidarity or unity?
Unity.
Yes!
Not just the catchphrase. But I hope that the women's locker room protest this if action is taken against them, because especially this is a predetermined sport. This is scripted, and it is unfair to trade off the star power of Naomi and Sasha constantly as fodder for champions. Give them this championship opportunity, and rather than let them have that platform to bask in the popularity and advancement of the company and their careers, to essentially say, oh yeah, by the way, we still need you to lose these matches for talents we deem more important.
Yeah, and WWE really needs to tread lightly when it comes to any type of potential smear campaign. Let's remember that Sasha Banks struggles with depression. The last time she took a hiatus, mental health issues. She has a great WWE Chronicle documentary, really diving into that. Women are adversely affected by cyberbullying, and there's loyalists on both sides of the equation to where all WWE has to do is activate them by saying that they're unprofessional and we do not stand for what they're doing. And if that gets across Sasha Banks, it could have disastrous results. So they really need to tread lightly in terms of dealing with this situation.
But to your point, just to counteract, is like I also know that Sasha and Naomi have 2 of the biggest, most loyal fan base in all of women's wrestling. And it's like, if you come for them, you better be ready to deal with an army, because I personally think their fan base is more powerful than any army out there. So I have seen a lot of ugliness on social media that has come out, that people are just making comments that are completely unnecessary and unrelated to the subject, which is complete bullshit. I apologize for my language. But at the same time, I have seen a lot of support for them, and I'm hoping that's the side of things that they are seeing should they be, checking social media, because they do have a lot of support right now.
Yeah, you mess with those Sasha Banks and Naomi fans uniting, Joe Biden's going to have to send money to WWE. Joe Biden's going to have to send a care package and money to subsidize WWE, keep them in business if they go to war with Naomi and the Sasha Banks fan base at the same time.
Hey, they picked the wrong ones. They picked the wrong ones, man.
Yeah. And this has been building across the whole division. I mean, remember the stories came out about Alexa Bliss being frustrated. We heard that interview with Ember Moon, and now it's Sasha Banks and Naomi. Somebody had to take a stand. It just there had to be a watershed moment, not only for this, but to hopefully send a message, which rarely happens, but send a message about the creative process at large and how it needs to change, because it really does. I think we can all agree on that.
And it makes no sense. Last Monday night, Raw went off the air with Becky attacking Asuka and Bianca, so you think they're going in that direction, and they have started teasing this Doudrop and Nikki ASH with Sasha and Naomi. What changed in a week that now you're having a 6-pack, match? And even if you want to go ahead with the 6-pack, you could have made it to where you set up the tag team feud and give one of the other ladies, the number one contendership. But it doesn't sound like that's what they had planned. But it doesn't make sense to completely take a complete turn from the stories that you were telling just a week ago.
Yeah, very interesting story to keep up. And to put a little bow before we get to the big news here, I believe it was a few months ago that they were doing that storyline with Naomi and Sonya Deville with the Karen storyline, and she's bullying Naomi every week. I believe my exact words in that podcast were, "This is not realistic. A black woman that I know would never just sit there and take this. A black woman would have been quit. So now that this is playing out in real life, I'm glad to see that the more realistic result has happened as WWE's behind-the-scenes storyline continue to be more entertaining than their in-the-ring storylines. I think that might be part of the problem here with this company sometimes. And the big news, Glenn, you're going to love this. Cody Rhodes confirmed that there will be temporary neck tattoos sold by WWE.
If we don't do a show where we are all wearing our Cody's tattoos on our neck, I'm quitting. I'm walking out. I'm telling you right now. Glenn,
let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah, we have to. I'm in.
Let's
Come
see
on,
what
Glenn.
we can do. Let's see what I can't believe they're monetizing this.
Glenn, you have to commit.
Okay, I'm committed.
Okay, we're doing it. I can't.
My relationship with this podcast is my second longest term relationship in my lifetime.
Oh wow! So we can put a tattoo on that, and then maybe you can make that tattoo permanent.
Yeah, let's just get it done when we go to Vegas together.
Oh
yeah.
I'm always up for getting tattoos drunk at 3 a.m.
I'm not, I want to be able to be buried in a Jewish cemetery, or at least have the option,
Well, we can put a little concealer on it. If something happens to you, I'll come in and I'll conceal it real quick. So
he's an organ donor, and just cover the tattoo so we can bury him, in a pine box.
Don't be like, what is this woman doing at the morgue? And I'm there with my makeup. Just love you, Glenn. I love you.
It's gonna be lit.
Man, what else we got?
That's the news. Sasha Banks and Naomi dominating the headlines, and then a little fun story for the family about neck tattoos.
I think they should show up on Dynamite. I think they should just freaking go for it and show up as masked luchadoras, and then get stand-ins backstage to reveal it so they have plausible deniability.
Conquistadores.
Yeah.
They should. Okay, you know what they do? They bring in 2 masked wrestlers. They do all of Naomi and Sasha Banks' stuff, and then they take their hoods off to show that it's not them. And then they just bring in the real women moving forward under the assumption that, no, it's not them. We showed you last week.
That would be epic. That would be pretty epic. I mean,
that's more Hall and Nash. Sasha Banks and Naomi, that's Hall and Nash. Okay, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Hogan Savage. Sasha Banks and Naomi would be Hall and Nash. They're younger, they're cooler, in touch with mainstream culture, would bring in the audiences that AEW alienates, casuals, women, and black people. They could bring in a lot for AEW. That would be Hall and Nash.
Do you think they could do something to get fired right away?
They're not going to get fired. Like, if WWE doesn't fix this and they don't smooth things, I hate the thought they're going to make them sit it out.
Yeah, they might, but we've seen people force their ways out successfully, whether it's Pac, who did have to sit out, by the way, but Toni Storm forced her way out. Jeff Hardy jumped a rail and forced her way out of a contract. But them, it might be a little tougher, but there are some rumblings that their contract might be even becoming due relatively soon.
I mean, Sasha Banks knows Baby Yoda, so I know she has, like, a lot of powers, It's true.
Yeah, she does.
Did you guys see her on Cold as Balls today with Kevin Hart? I loved it. And then I heard her comment about how she was told that she was a good hand. And I was like, I wonder if she has some flash. I know this was recorded before this whole thing went down, but doesn't it make you feel like maybe she has some flashbacks to those moments? Because she felt like that was the moment in which she felt she had to prove people wrong. So,
Great timing for Kevin Hart, by the way. I'm sure he put that out and he sees this influx of views like, wow, wrestling must be hot. But like in reality, no, Kevin, some shit went down. That's what's happening, buddy.
Yeah. He showed up in my recommended, and I don't watch that show, but it was because I was watching so many clips, of, so many videos of what was going on that it just automatically popped up for me.
Me too. That's the same story I have. I was watching all these videos and now it's like, oh, Kevin Hart.
Yeah. They were great together. She was funny.
So NXT 2.0 tonight, which has the disadvantage of being the first serious thing I've watched after binging all of Squid Game this weekend.
Oh, you watched it? Nice.
Yeah. I thought it was good. I saw some of the twists. I saw one of the twists coming. I won't spoil. Not the last twist. I saw the episode 8 twist coming. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And what's funny is I watched finally this weekend. I watched Battle Royale, the Japanese film from the year 2000, where it's high school students on an island. Like essentially the Hunger Games ripped it off. And I loved that. I thought that movie was phenomenal. Then I watched Battle Royale 2 on Sunday, which sucked because here's the thing about all these movies. I don't care if it's Saw. I don't care if it's the Hunger Games. I don't care if it's Battle Royale, Escape Room, any of this. I like the formula you set out in the movie. And when you make a sequel, you know what? You could just make the same formula with new people. I don't care what the story behind the Purge is. I don't want to know about Jigsaw and his life. I don't care about Katniss dismantling the Hunger Games system. You know, just take a formula and stick to it. And God damn it, if Squid Game 2 is about we have to dismantle the Squid Game system, screw that. Just take
that's exactly what it's going to be
formula.
about.
I hope not.
Same winning, Final Destination is the most brilliant series because Final Destination said, you know what? We got a good thing going. Let's just get new people, new deaths, same idea. People love those movies. And I'm just so sick.
Yeah, I'm a big Final Destination girl. I am.
So sick of this backstory thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just very shocked that it's the first time in this show that you might have been behind on watching something. You're usually telling me and Alfred what to watch, and this is the first time that me and Alfred have seen something you hadn't.
Well, both movies I'd saved. I was looking for things that my wife didn't have a lot of interest in because it does get excessive when you watch stuff where people are killing and getting killed, and it can be kind of a downer. That's all you watch. Watched X over the weekend, which, by the way, X was a good slasher film, but it wasn't like this revelation everybody said it was. You know, I mean, it was a good weekend of entertainment. But by the way, Free Guy, huge waste of time. Thought I would love that film.
Really,
watched that over the weekend. Really just not much there. I watched probably 6 or 7 movies and all of Squid Game this weekend. Just me and the cats on the couch. AC turned on, shades pulled down.
I hope the other movies you watched were happy because Squid Game is pretty heavy to watch all at once.
Oh no, I watched The Parallax View finally. Also, I get why it was good at the time. Not as great as everyone made it out to be. You ever do that where you watch a movie from like I didn't watch The Shining till a couple of years ago, and I was like, this feels like I've seen every movie that ripped this off, so this now actually feels derivative of the original.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
You can't wait too long. I saw The Exorcist too late. Like The Exorcist, I'd seen it parodied so much. I was like, this isn't scary anymore.
Okay, yeah, definitely can't.
You know,
I am.
Yes, I am Error Buck99 saying the tornado will defeat Roman Saint.
Oh, see, that's not even the tornado. This movement is growing strong. Hey, what do you think the tornado would have done if Vince gave him shitty creative and said, hey, you're going to go do a job to a rainfall. There's a drizzle out there. You're going to go do a job to a drizzle. Go out there and do it. Tornado's flying right out of that city, and he's going to Kansas. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
So tonight, NXT in your house announced it's going to be 3 weeks from now, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
More than
the excitement that we have over in your house. It's ridiculous.
Last week was a really good show. I'm bummed that the ratings may have been down because last week's show was really good.
Yeah, I feel like they don't really have a schedule for these in your house shows. They just, when they bottom out in the ratings, they say, okay, crap, we got to do it in your house in 3 weeks so that they can have some direction, so that they can build up to a big show and boost those ratings up.
Yeah. And NXT is going back on the road.
Yay. After the disrespect that this crowd showed during the main event to the Dawn of NXT, Tony D'Angelo, I can't wait for them to get out of there.
Yeah, this is a rough crowd. There was a pocket of that crowd that seemed very interested in what was going on. And then like 3/4 of it that were just like tourists who didn't know what they were watching.
Yeah.
No Nikita Lyons, man.
Yeah. Give her a break. Got to build up that start. She's got one bracket held down and she won her match last week. And so, maybe she'll come back.
So Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams took on Cameron Grimes and Solo Sikoa for a brisk match at the start of the show. Alfred, what'd you think of this?
It was a fine match. Pretty good opener. Solo Sikoa looked good and continues to be very over. And I just think that they really should angle to put the title on him if that is the direction that in your house in 3 weeks. I feel like he's lost enough opportunities and he seems popular enough with that crowd that he should be the champion. But I thought this was a fine match. I thought Trick is getting a little better. He looks better. He's definitely a good athlete. He's getting better.
Yeah, I love this match. I thought it was this is 3-4 weeks in a row that NXT opens with a pretty hot match to start the show. I like Solo Sikoa a lot. If you're not gonna call him up, I do think he should be holding some gold at some point. I wanted him to beat up Cameron Grimes after the match, right? Like, hey, listen, I paired up with you just because we had to take on these two guys, but I'm still coming for you. And yeah, he held the title, but a beatdown would have been more efficient and the crowd would have gone crazy for it. But yeah, I do think that you have to pull the plug with Solo Sikoa right now, or otherwise he's just going to be losing too many matches and too many opportunities.
Yeah. But Solo's got next.
He's got next. It's a great champ, by the way.
It is. Cameron and Solo won this match. Yeah, kind of a fast match to open the show. It was okay.
Yeah.
Pretty Deadly cut a promo backstage.
Not my favorite fit from them. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Ooh.
I seen them wear a lot better. I'm not saying it was the worst thing that they wore, but it was probably my least favorite thing so far. They usually look more on point. So their fit tonight, not it. Also, completely off topic, but why didn't they show Seth Rollins' full outfit last night on Raw? Because we only saw from here up, and that fit looks sick. I was like, I need to see the fishnet with the neon jacket. Oh my god, I have an outfit like that. So I wish they would have shown the whole thing.
Yeah. Pause.
My wife is convinced there's a conspiracy that I order Instacart, so it shows up when I'm on the podcast. So she has to get the groceries and wipe them down. And put them
That's a good con there.
She just called me a bastard because I said the groceries are here. No sponsor this week, so if you need to borrow some money, hit up Tony D'Angelo. He's got favorable rates and no credit, no collateral. Forget about it. As long as you pay the juice, you're good. You know.
I can't wait.
Yeah, hit up Tony D on Twitter.
We're always sponsored by Tony D'Angelo. He just doesn't know it.
Yes, our very existence is sponsored by the Ghost.
Yeah, the Don.
Lash Legend beat Tatum Paxley pretty quickly.
Yay!
Yeah. Yes, we're building up to Lash Legend versus Nikita Lyons in the finals.
You think Lash is gonna beat Roxy?
Yes, I do. I think they gave Roxy. They haven't really been booking Roxy well. She's looked good in there, but in terms of win-loss, I think they wanted to give her this win, and then I think hopefully they're able to have a good match. I think they could do a good big woman, little woman match, and it'll be different style for Lash Legend.
Right.
Gravitate toward.
I was just very happy to see Lash Legend finally get a win on NXT TV. I was starting to get a little bit worried about her with her feud with Nikita Lyons. And she just looks so dominant. She looks better every time I see her perform. So I was very happy in regards to this match. They made it, pretty fast, which probably helped Lash a lot. And yeah, I'm happy to just see her get a win.
Yeah, I could think this could end up being Lash and Nikita in the finals, which would be interesting.
I thought it was gonna be Roxy and Nikita, but I would love it for it to be Nikita and Lash.
If it's Roxy and Nikita, I'm worried the Lash is gonna cost Nikita the win.
Wow, that would be interesting.
Yeah,
but she's gonna lose to Roxy, so she might cost Roxy the win. Think about it.
Yeah,
cost Roxy the win. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah,
tainting Nikita Lyons' victory.
Tainting. Butch. That's gonna be it. Every time we just go in dry silence because we don't have anything interesting to talk about, I'm just gonna say Butch.
Just recovering. Like I can't remember the last weekend I had where I felt I did nothing. I did nothing this weekend except to walk on the treadmill and just sit on the couch. And like I ate the lazy. I'm like recovering from like this lazy weekend. I made like a big jar of edamame on Friday and just kept them in like a big mason jar, with the lid. And I would just go to the fridge and just be like, I'm just gonna take a spoonful of edamame. I'm good. I don't need to eat for a while. It's like this weird, I can never be single again. My bachelor life will be so sad if that happens.
Was it one of those weekends that you're just so lazy because you want to like rest, that you're tired because of how lazy you were?
Oh my
God. Those are the worst.
I just had a weekend like that.
Yeah, but I don't think I've realized like how much I get done and just feel more active because my wife like, oh, we have to make dinner, we have to do something, but this was like, no, I had a cat that I had to give medicine on schedule. Aside from that, just stretches of nothingness, just eating the weirdest healthy food just in bulk.
Self-care.
Very strange. Yes, very strange. I did this. Here we go. Apparently the kids call this slugging. I put moisturizer on my feet and wrapped them in saran wrap and then put moisturizer on my hands and sat there with gloves on and just watched like 3 episodes of Squid Game.
Were you wearing your Hugh Hefner's robe?
I should have been. It was too warm for that.
Oh my God. It would have been priceless with your little hat and the sunglasses.
You missed the Fragora the other night, Alfred. The Fragora has arrived.
I got to go back and check that out.
Yeah, it was a look and a half. So, these Tony D'Angelo and Santos Escobar promos tonight. What did you think of this Tony with stacks and 2 dimes reminiscing about some of the beatings they've given in the past?
I didn't think they were as good as last week's, but I didn't have a problem with these. I like that they really built this into a main event. I feel like it happened in front of the wrong crowd, but I like the turf war being a thing that they've built toward. And hopefully they do move away from this now that this is over. But this feels like it also could have applied to when they were doing war games and having these 2 factions feud against each other. That would have really been a good payoff for this.
Yeah, I was having fun. We've all had those conversations, reminiscence of beatdowns you've given people with your friends. So it was great. I thought it was very relatable.
So we saw NXT's tour dates. By the way, NXT is touring. NXT's coming to your neighborhood. NXT's tour in Florida. Yeah. For all the lucky folks living in Dunellen, Florida, Saturday, July 19th. Or no, pardon me, July 8th, Friday the 8th. It's not. Actually, I have to say, these smaller NXT shows, like I went to one in Lakeland, Florida once, saw Liv Morgan back when she was under her real name. Like the smaller NXT shows are a ton of fun. Highly recommend those.
They look like a lot. I've seen clips of them and the crowds look like they have a good time and they get to do longer matches. This is going to be very good functionally for this talent. Even if it's just around Florida, they really need that live event experience and they need as many matches as possible.
Imagine if you're part of the NXT 2.0 roster and they're like, oh my God, guys, we're going on tours and they're excited. They're going to go on these planes, stay in these fancy cities. And then they just pulled up this old looking bus and be like, everybody get in. We're leaving.
Oh no, I think it's even worse because remember on Breaking Ground, they would show they have to take their own cars to the Florida Loop. They have to drive home and sleep in their own bed or get their own hotel rooms. Like
I like to picture the bus. Like remember fighting with my family, how they had him in the bus. Yeah, that's what I want to picture this tour.
I still haven't seen like. Is that a good movie?
Oh really?
Is it worth a watch?
I mean, a little anticlimactic. Like when it came out after Paige retired.
Because we know what's going to... Oh, okay. After she retired, I thought you were going to say... Obviously, it's anticlimactic because we know how the story ends with Paige's life as we follow from week to week.
No, Paige's life seems like it's going great. But but I mean, it was just like... It was kind of a little bittersweet, the ending,
Yeah, no, I just meant to that point in the movie. But
it was good, though. I mean, it was very enjoyable. It was a very enjoyable... Vince Vaughn also. Vince Vaughn continues.
Oh, he was so great. He was so great in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Continues to deliver standout performance after standout performance, which is more than Braun Breaker did tonight.
Oh God.
With Joe Gacy appearing with Druids. Joe Gacy, this is how uncertain NXT contracts are right now. They're not even replacing Harland. They're just putting Druids out there so they could swap him in with other guys if his sidekicks get released.
If they put Joe Gacy in a Druid outfit, he needs to start wearing.
I can't wait for this feud to be over with. I can't.
I'm surprised they're doing it for another 3 weeks of this. My goodness.
Oh my God. I know. I thought it was done that last, when they had that match, was it Spring Breaking, right? Oh my God. I just can't. I can't handle the promos. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't get into this.
And Indy is losing to Mandy Rose next week. Pretty sure that's as
Okay, but I mean, she's getting a title match. Maybe riding solo is helping her at least. I never seen her near the title picture before.
Yeah, solo match on non-paper or a title match on non-pay-per-view.
Glenn, can you be positive here?
Yeah, you got to take what you can get.
The girl is a rock bottom. She's getting a title match. Come on, she lost her husband, her parents, her best friend.
What if they just decide to put the title on her that night? You know, what if they're just feeling good and they want to pop the ratings
All right,
and they
Alfred,
decide to shake it up for a week?
I said let's be positive, not unrealistic.
I'm calling her right here next week.
And I like Indy, by the way. I just think all the momentum she had is just like been, you know, she's been suffered quite a setback.
Yeah, the rug got pulled up from under her. It's out of her control. She had a good thing going here with Dexter. I think people really gravitated toward Index, and now it's all gone. Start from
It
scratch.
was just funny because I was like, it was one of those promos that I had it, and I'm just scrolling through social media, and then as soon as she said Mandy Rose, I was like, wait, how did we get here? You know, like I know they had that interaction backstage, but it just seems so rare. But it feels like they're just testing out random people with Mandy Rose because she's having all kinds of interactions with different people, so you don't know who she's gonna fight next.
Chemistry tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I also watched the second half of The Wrestler on Sunday, and I tweeted it as a joke, but isn't it funny that like 14 years ago, that was the reality, whereas if you made The Wrestler today, he'd be like signing at StarCast and doing a podcast with Conrad.
Oh,
Yeah,
speaking of
he's
the
living
wrestler,
well.
yeah, speaking of the wrestler, Ric Flair's having another match. So
Yeah, here comes Ric Flair, maybe against Steamboat. I mean, listen, I love those clips that he posts about Jay Lethal, but this is what's wrong with this business is Ric Flair coming back at such an advanced age. But hey, listen, I hope that he survives it. I think people are going to really enjoy it, but there's a whole range of outcomes for this. If you saw,
it seems to be
what
what
4 years ago.
Yeah, it seems to be what, a 6-man. So I'm hoping that they're in the ring, very minimum, and you know they get their spots in, and that should be the end of it. I hope that nobody gets hurt, you know. But I was wondering who asked for this, you know.
Brett Murphy, $5 saying, Alfred, more disappointing, your Bucks losing or Jackson
Jesus.
Callan's not mentioning you in his video doing impressions with the other Wrestling Inc. crew.
Jax, he apologized profusely as he didn't have to be, and I accepted it. That's my guy. That's my brother. Don't stir things up between us. And the world champions will be back. Without Chris Middleton, we took the Celtics to a Game 7. Even with those crooked refs, the Bucks will be back. The Bucks dynasty is still intact. We win next year. It's 2 out of 3. The dynasty is still intact. So whoever wins, the Mavericks or the Warriors or whatever, who cares? The Bucks dynasty is still intact.
And watch.
We're gonna win 7? I thought I saw a tweet. I don't know.
No, I was just saying the Bucks are going to be at Game 7 as they were. Bucks at Game 7 is what I was saying, and they were.
No,
at
it
Game
said
7.
Bucks in 7. Alfred, was that a typo?
Bucks were there up until the second half, and the crooked referees took away the game, and the Bucks dynasty is still intact. That's all I have to say about this matter.
Okay.
Bucks at Game 7. I need to go back. Did it say in 7?
It said. I'm gonna retweet it when we're done. We're not delete it. Don't delete it.
It's still up there.
Okay, I think I can actually play this video.
Uh-oh.
Share it. Okay. So Jackson Callan's posted this on Twitter. Let me
so good.
Okay,
get him, Jax.
There we go. Let me play this. Here we go.
Where's my Macho Man, my Hulk Hogan, and all that stuff? WWE, man, I can't right now. Well, you gotta look at it this standpoint. Last Monday, what happened? That was the best pay-per-view ever.
That's my favorite.
Well, I don't know. This segment made me think back to this 80s movies called Goonies, which Raj unbelievably hasn't seen yet. Oh my God, I love Roman Reigns so much.
I do.
In England?
Saying hi to my neighbor. I didn't care about this match at all, honestly. Can you guys hear me? You guys hear me at all? No, but for real. Raj, Gary, Wrestling Inc., the whole team, everybody involved, congratulations. 25 years, man. That is awesome. And we all love you and support you. And I am so glad to be a part of this as a fan and friends. And let's keep it rolling, baby.
Thank you so much, Jackson Callens.
So good. When he showed up in the car for Matt Morgan, I died. Like before he even started talking, I was already just laughing so hard.
Had to say hi to my neighbor.
Yeah. And Jack Farmer, that was the best pay-per-view ever. His positivity is so overwhelmed.
It's amazing. Amazing.
So good.
Man. So that video more entertaining than most of what we saw tonight on
Yeah,
NXT,
definitely.
It really was.
Creed took on the Viking Raiders, with the Viking Raiders getting their win back tonight.
Of course they did. Of course they did. I told you guys last week, I thought the Creed brothers were stupid for wanting to get their win back like fairly. Like Roderick Strong did them a favor, and they're sitting there going like, oh my God, like, no, we want to beat these guys who are undefeated and badasses. We really want to beat them. I'm glad they lost. They deserve to lose. They should know better. Maybe they'll have a new appreciation for Roderick Strong now.
Yeah, and I loved Brutus Creed in this match. I thought he looked really good. And the thing about this storyline, I like that they're doing a storyline with the Viking Raiders, but I think they're doing it backwards. I don't think they remembered, and I don't think they even knew that the Viking Raiders were undefeated for all those years in NXT. If they would have kept that going, it would have been such a more valuable story that they can't beat the Viking Raiders on their own. And then when they finally do get that huge win and break the streak, it's because of Roderick Strong. I think that would have been a more powerful way to get this point across. But now it's a 50-50 storyline, and I just don't care as much.
The Viking Raiders just look like $1 million in NXT, and I don't understand why that has never translated to their run in the main roster, because my God, they just look so intimidating. They're on point. They work well with everyone, and they come to the main roster, and I just don't care about them.
Yeah. They're really talented as a tag team.
Yeah, they are.
It's good to see them on NXT at least have good matches. And also because they are gigantic men, and I don't think that always comes across. And when they're in there with guys like Omos and stuff like that, but they're gigantic and they dwarf. The Creed brothers are big boys too, and they dwarf those guys.
Yeah.
Grayson Waller beat Andre Chase pretty easily tonight.
Yeah, there was no air horn thingy, that affected Grayson Waller's performance tonight.
Yeah, I blame Saraya. She was not waving that flag with enough enthusiasm. So that's what happens. She really needs to get that wrist involved in waving that flag, have that flag flying loud and proud.
Yeah, but again, we're back on that 50-50 booking that we always complain about week after week.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James.
They gave this some time.
Yeah, a real showcase for Roxy. I did watch this, and in the back of my mind thought, wow, she's got a chance to maybe be like the Cinderella and go all the way or go to the finals or whatnot, but they really showcased her, and I thought every chance that they've given Roxanne Perez, she's knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I thought this was a fun match.
This wasn't her best because, I think the other woman she was wrestling was a little limited, but I think she's looked really good in terms of like connected with the crowd, being a potential top star there.
Yeah, which is why I think that's why they gave this match some time. If you notice, with this breakout tournament, you have like one squash match and one match that actually ends up getting a little bit of time because they're trying to highlight someone. They were clearly trying to get eyes on Roxanne tonight.
Yeah, it was an okay match. I mean, I didn't think it was great, but I'm enjoying this tournament, though.
Me too.
Yeah, it's good. So far, so good.
Absolutely. So we had Idris and Malik mocking Tony D'Angelo.
I love these guys. These guys deserve more TV time.
Yep.
They kind of they have that same vibe as the Fashion Police when they were doing the Fashion Files. But I think they should give them something like that to where they're on TV doing, backstage vignettes that lead to matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh man, so Wesley versus Nathan Frazier started off really good, and then Von Wagner, America's sweetheart, had to interrupt the match.
PWO.
If you didn't dislike Von Wagner before, tonight really gave you some reason to further.
Well, I'm going to have to counter you there and go the other way. Let me tell you something about this Von Wagner. I'm usually not a fan of his promos and his character, as we know. This is the coolest thing I ever saw him do. This throwing a guy over the top rope, that's what he should do. This might be his thing. A guy who can throw things really far. It reminded me of Mike Awesome, who really was awesome. He's very underrated, and I don't think he'll ever get the credit he deserves. But Mike Awesome used to just find all these ways to powerbomb guys and he'd throw them out of the ring to the table. This could be Von Wagner, and I think if that's his bread and butter, I might be interested.
Yeah, I'm neutral here because I rolled my eyes as soon as he came out. But did I enjoy him yeeting him off the freaking ring? Yeah, 1000%. I popped for it. So,
The spot
if
was
this is
good.
how you book him, then maybe you can get people to like him. But when he first came out, I was like, oh God, no.
Yeah, me too.
Oh man.
Hey, this
The
new
main event-
MSK is going to be lit. I think Nathan Fraser passed his audition for MSK, and when they team up, that new MSK I think is going to be pretty good because
That's what they should call
were
it.
going
New
1,000
MSK.
miles. Yeah,
New MSK.
MSK 2.0.
In order for Nathan Fraser to pass this test, Alfred, he has to go through Matt Riddle, and I haven't seen them interact yet. So Matt Riddle has to approve before we name the new member of the new MSK.
Oh, and there'll be like initiation.
Oh
something
yeah,
backstage. It'll be like the Run DMC Mary Mary video where you think they're smoking pot and it's just like incense.
it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Be good.
Shit,
time.
maybe I should apply for the job. I want to get an initiation by Riddle. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, where's is that? Do we have to go to Chase U? Do you have to have a degree from there to apply for this job?
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm pretty sure you do, but I'm already signed up. I'm just on the wait list.
Yeah, I heard through the grapevine, Chase you if your check clears, you get the diploma.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's their main requirement for graduation.
That's good.
I'm gonna study Spanish, so that way I know it's gonna be easy.
Chase you, they'll let you teach the class.
Yeah.
Kelvin R. Alexander, $5 saying Mike Awesome actually had personality and he could talk.
He absolutely did. Let's have a Mike Awesome appreciation moment. I thought, because I'm saying that's a good ceiling for Von Wagner. Listen, Mike Awesome isn't the greatest of all time, but he was the complete package as a wrestler. I think the thing with Mike Awesome, he was like a WWE prototype in ECW, so they didn't really respect him as like one of their own hardcores, and I think he would have just been an also-ran in WWE. So he's a good heel in ECW and a good talker and a very explosive athlete. R.I.P. Mike Awesome.
Yeah.
So the main event tonight, Tony D'Angelo versus Santos Escobar. A match that I have feelings about because Santos Escobar won and Tony D'Angelo, the Don of NXT, lost.
But it was a tainted victory.
Very tainted. I couldn't believe my eyes, but
unacceptable. I couldn't believe that Tony D'Angelo wasn't ready. Like he didn't think ahead that Legado would do this. He keeps like I love the Don of NXT. He's still the GOAT in my eyes, but he needs to stop underestimating this cartel. Like this is the cartel versus the mafia. Like you don't know what you're messing with either. You cannot underestimate them. Tony, please call me. I'll give you some tips.
And this, like, there was dueling chants, and the guys into Tony D'Angelo were really doing the Italian thing. And I was thinking that, like, WWE's kind of stoking the flames of a race war here.
That promo backstage, the promo backstage with the sides doing the other side. That was something.
I'm telling you, man. Maybe that's what the weird energy was, because I thought this was a good main event. I liked the build to this, but I just felt like the crowd wasn't there all the way. Maybe it's because there's two heels in the ring there. I think that might have had something to do with it. But but people who were into it were very passionate about it, and I was worried that, like, man, when that hand hits 3, there might be a fight breaking out.
Yeah, and
I felt that way. I felt that way.
Hit Tony with the brass knuckles.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
They were supposed to come out there and just settle things the right way. This is unacceptable behavior from Santos Escobar, and if he wakes up with the fishes, it's on him. He's gonna be sleeping with the fishies.
I got to hear the Legado song 2 times.
Legado,
which I love, but I'm still upset about Tony. I would have rather had Tony D'Angelo win this match.
He did look good.
He just got merch in WWE shop, a shirt.
Oh, there you go. What does it say?
It's not good.
Tony D'Angelo, it's not great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just says the Dawn of NXT with a picture of him. Like,
oh, come on.
I don't like my merch to be obvious. Like when you make merch, I don't want you to see what it is. Like I want it to be like an inside thing. You know what I mean? So a symbol or so. I don't know.
They need Tony D'Angelo fedoras. Screw the shirt.
Oh my God.
They need to be selling fedoras, wife beaters. They need to be selling his whole look. That's what they're tank tops. Okay.
Oh my God. And we can wear the wife beaters with the fedora and the Cody Rhodes tattoo on our neck.
Oh man.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
It looked like the 2nd season of Oz.
Oh my God.
Great show, by the way.
It was.
Was that good? I didn't watch Oz vs. Sopranos. I was really into The Wire. Watched The Wire, then immediately watched The Wire again. Really excited about the new Was That We Own This City, the one's supposed to be kind of like Wire-esque.
Oh, is that what it's going for? Okay, it does look good.
Yeah, a lot of actors from The Wire in it as well, including Dookie, all grown up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, Oz. I've heard mixed things about Oz.
Oh,
It was a great show.
Yeah, I remember being too young to watch it, but
Yeah.
I
was going to say you
what
were
I
like
could understand.
7 years old when Oz came
Oh
out.
no, way too young to watch some of the stuff that was going down there. But
Oh my god! How old were you?
it was. I watched it years after it came out, so I was probably like 10, like 11, like middle school. Not middle school, like still elementary school, but like 10, 11.
I was obsessed. My mom was a correctional officer. She worked in like one of the dangerous all women prisons here in Puerto Rico. So I'm always being obsessed with jail shows just because I've heard some real stories, so I want to see how realistic this kind of shows are. I loved Oz.
Sit down and watch Oz with your mom and just compare notes.
Yeah, but then my mom be acting like Lacey Evans. Like she'll be watching that stuff and be like, "That's nothing. One time I had to deal with."
How was the Lacey Evans promo last night?
Oh, she's definitely going heel. I mean, it wasn't full on, but you could see the makings of a heel where she told people to get off their butts and spent the whole promo telling everybody to applaud. I wonder if they go political with this. I don't think they will. And if they do, it's WWE. They're just going to back off and get scared as soon as they get any press for it. But I wonder, just watching this, when she just kept focusing on the military, when I thought it was going to be more of her continuing to complain about her life. I wonder if they're going political with this.
Who called this? Who told you guys she was a heel?
Queen
Since week
Issa.
2?
Queen Issa saw this coming the whole way, did not trust her for a single solitary second. We let our guards down and we paid for it.
Yeah, Glenn, you know what you forgot to talk about, which I thought was actually really funny? There was a backstage interview with Roxy after she won her match.
That's right.
And she was getting interviewed, and then Cora Jade comes to congratulate her. And then she's like, "No, it's not about me." But she completely takes over the entire segment, and nobody talks to Roxy again. And I'm like, what just happened? I just thought it was funny because they tried to make it about Roxy, and then everybody forgot about her because then Elektra came in and it was just funny,
that's the thing. Opinion. It wasn't even like, because if something like this happened in AEW, I'll think, oh, they're planting some seeds and this is going to be a long-term thing. But this is just incompetent booking, because I noticed that it was very awkward when she just came in and then they were done with Roxy after that. And it's like, wait, didn't she just win the match?
Yeah, and Cora Jade openly says, oh, because I think that Mackenzie went to ask her something. Cora's like, oh, no, it's not about me. We're just celebrating Roxy. But then she kept talking, and then Elektra came in and talked to her, and then everybody forgot about Roxy. And I was like, what just happened? Also, no Natalia tonight.
Yeah, I think she's probably done for a little bit.
Yeah, I heard she's wrapped up with NXT. That's kind of surprising, but it makes sense.
She was tweeting Nikita. She told Nikita she wanted to see how flexible she is. So,
I mean, we don't have to do that in NXT. There's other ways. Like SmackDown or Raw. What's so funny about that? Like SmackDown or Raw. What are you laughing at, Glenn?
That's not what I was thinking at all.
Anyhow, tonight was okay. Last week was better.
Yeah,
tonight was fine.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
No, 5.5 out of 10.
I'm just looking forward to. Well, I mean, I'm just looking forward to Friday, or I'm actually just looking forward to whatever the next development is, and Naomi and Sasha.
By the way, there's speaking of that, there seemed to be a shot at Naomi and Sasha from Toxic Attraction where JC Jane had this line about the tag titles. She goes, "Ooh, our tag titles mean so much to us." It seemed to be a shot at Sasha Banks. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but it seemed a little too random.
I hope not. I have so many fears for what's next in this story, because if they smooth things out, I can just see them just burying them on TV too. Like we'll see where this goes.
To who? Toxic Attraction? Toxic Attraction comes up and then wins the unifies.
Yeah, they'll unify them and give it to freaking Toxic Attraction.
That would be the most insult. Like, I would feel so bad for JC and Gigi if that happens.
They would get the wrath.
Yeah,
my goodness.
Like, I feel bad for them. I mean, that would be like the kiss of death.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Anyhow,
You guys excited for Friday? We're going to get a tag team unification match that's going to have no finish.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm expecting too. So not very excited at all.
Oh, okay.
Hey, that was really cool. The idea of the Usos and Roman Reigns all having 2 belts. That would be an interesting visual.
Yeah. I want Roman Reigns to win all the tag titles too. Like, that would be incredible.
Load Roman up with the belts.
Yes, all of them.
What was it? Somebody said they're moving Young Rock to Fridays this fall.
They are. It's going to head-to-head against SmackDown. Season 3 of Young Rock. Also, the XFL. The Rock's on fire right now. I got ESPN deal for the XFL. I think that's good for him. Very good for him.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. I am excited to see what happens Friday. But once again, real life puts scripted storylines to shame.
Yep.
Definitely. Well, especially when the storylines aren't any good. And
no, that's
again, I've been begging for a WWE reality show where they just put a camera behind the curtain, or they just show what really happens backstage, because they don't know how to create these moments anymore. And it's always so much more interesting. I can't count how many stories where we go on air and I'm like, man, if I got like the 10-minute, whether it's Cody Rhodes, whether it's Shane McMahon and all that drama, or this, the stuff that happens behind the curtain is so much more interesting than what they can create in front of the camera these days.
Do you think, like, well, I saw Bailey did tweet about this today, but most of the people that are acknowledging this are not from the current roster. Do you think the silence of the current roster says anything or adds anything to the story? Because when Jeff Hardy walked out, I did see a lot of members of the current roster sending support for the whole situation with Jeff Hardy. So it just feels odd, right? That it feels like there's like this defining silence from people that were there.
There is, but I see some support for them. You know, I think Shayna Baszler had something. I mean, they're all doing it in their own way, where it's not like, we stand with you, girls, Sasha, Naomi. They're just saying and subtweeting so that it can, there's deniability. But, you know, again, this is an era of a locker room that is terrified of Vince McMahon, and that's why there's so much sameness. That's why they're okay with being booked as also Rams when they have to stand around the ring. That's why a lot of the horrible creative decisions we see continue to happen, because nobody's doing this. With the Attitude Era, where you had all these outlaws and cowboy types and Stone Cold Steve Austin types who felt like they were more peers to Vince McMahon, you really saw them challenge him and push him. That's just not happening in this era. And so it's good to see that come back, because that's exactly what needs to happen for this to change.
Yeah, agree.
I think it would be interesting if somebody breaks it down and says, okay, Naomi and Sasha, here's the deal. Maybe you can't go wrestle for another company. Doesn't mean you can't act. Doesn't mean you can't do something else with your time that's high profile. I'm curious what those contracts actually would forbid them from doing.
Yeah, and the precedent was set with Brock Lesnar, where they pretty much did that with him. They said that you can't do anything really, and he challenged it in court and won. So there's only so much that they can deny them. The key is just going to be when their contract is up. Like Issa said, freezing their contract is the thing they do. That I think that should be challenged in court. Maybe Sasha and Naomi are the ones to do that, in terms of they're able to freeze your contract when you get hurt or when you kind of take time off, and they need to reevaluate that, especially if they're being classified as independent contractors. You know, we get into the professionalism, this and that, but if we're classifying them as independent contractors, who are you protecting? You're protecting yourself.
I love that you brought up that Brock Lesnar example, because I remember he went to New Japan and he was so petty that he had to change the name to the F5 and he called it the Bear Deck while they were in court waiting for the result, which I thought was actually priceless. That's a fun Brock Lesnar trivia right there.
That's hilarious. I did not know that.
You didn't know that? I know.
No.
I could teach Brock Lesnar 101 and 102 in Chase U.
Oh, wow. See, then I'm on the waiting list too, but I would do everything to get in the Chase U if they had Brock Lesnar classes.
There you have it, folks. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Shout out to Tina Miller. Hope you're feeling better.
Tina, we love you. Prayers
shout out, Tina.
And positive thoughts with you.
Always.
So I realized last night, as we were watching MTV Raps with Eddie Murphy, that on the set of Boomerang, that my wife has never seen Boomerang, and I only saw Boomerang once in theater. So I think we're watching Boomerang tonight.
After you put the groceries away.
My wife put the groceries away. I just had to keep the podcast going long enough, so my wife had to put the groceries. No, I'm kidding. But I think we're gonna watch Boomerang, so it should be a good night.
I'm looking forward to the review.
Yes. Have a great night. Have a great week, everybody. We'll catch you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.